I'm gonna pull out one of those after we go through just
Okay.
talking about some of these strengths. So if there's any strength in you, what would be something that you've noticed?
This is hard.
You got this.
I would use, before all of this, I would have said being strong. But now I see it kind of opposite. Like, I've been strong for so long that, so saying a strength now, I maybe sad, but I can't think of anything.
Okay. So when you say being strong, what does that mean to you?
Like being able to handle everything and just move on from it, but I wasn't moving on from it. I was just burying it.
Okay. And so you said that's something you would have said before, and so now how do you feel about you being able to be strong?
I think I'm trying to learn a different way of being strong and not how I used to do it, where I was just, everything's fine, nothing's wrong, tuck it away. And now I'm trying to view it a little differently, because now being strong is being able to be vulnerable. And that's where I'm trying to get to and understand that tucking it away doesn't fix anything.
Absolutely. And I think we talked a little bit about that before.
Yeah.
And so now your new view of strength is
being able to
be vulnerable, is what you said. And that's really one of the keys to being able to work through the issues that have for so long impacted you and kind of like, narrate the life that you've lived. But it can be an awesome awakening, just coming from the point of, because you like got this spectrum that's yay long, and you go like all the way over here, and you're saying, okay, this is where I should be, and let's get there. And so that's a great thing. And that's not to say that for everything that you feel a tear well of, you're gonna go ahead and let it go.
Yeah, no.
But it's absolutely saying that if I don't have it all together, then that's okay. That's okay. So that's beautiful. I like how you just said that. So I would say, just from talking to you, because whenever you initially came in, you just said, I have had these struggles with just anger for so long, and I'm tired of being like this. I feel like a ticking time bomb, and I'm scared of going off again. I don't want to go off. And that took you being vulnerable. For you to come in and say that to a perfect stranger. Well, I think we talked a little bit. But that takes an amazing amount of courage for you to just be willing to share that with someone. And then you also just told me about, I think in our last session, you just mentioned that, whenever I'm having those down days and no one's around, I could pick up a bottle or two, and that's what I've used to kind of cope with sometimes. And that's not weakness for you to share those type of things with someone whenever it's in a place where it's like, I've been hiding it for this long. But you show so much strength in doing that, because you're at a place in life where it's like, you know what, I could be stronger. So I would definitely say that you are strong, and that's one of the first strengths I could pick out for you just coming in.
Never thought of it that way.
So while we are in transition and you are going through a transforming stage in your life, you've already met some of the marks because you're on the journey. Does that make sense? It's not just a here and there, it's a journey. And I think we can learn to appreciate the journey, and be able to count every moment of progress.
And I think I haven't. I mean, it's been 2 weeks since we've been able, because I got really sick and then the storm.
Yeah.
And over the last 2 weeks, I would say I've really been like the whole Montana thing.
Yeah.
I did use that, and it does help. Like I'll just think about that place, and it helps. But then there's just some days where nothing works.
Yeah.
I have one of those days, Tuesday and yesterday, and it's just I can't get past it. I don't know why. And I'm not sleeping lately.
Okay. So you've been having, when you say I'm not sleeping, does it mean you're not falling asleep, or do you fall asleep and wake up, or how's it?
That place where you're asleep but you're not fully asleep, and that's where I'm at. And if I am asleep, I'm having the craziest dreams.
Okay.
Just, I don't know where this is coming from, and like kind of like what you said, I'm all of a sudden in my life letting myself be vulnerable, and I feel like because of that, so I don't know how to handle a lot of the way I feel, because I'm a lot of days making myself acknowledge. Instead of ignoring it, I'm acknowledging what's going on, and how I feel, and why am I thinking these crazy things, and I feel like my body's just in a freak out mode right now.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel. I don't know what's going on, and I hope it passes.
And I think that's absolutely a part of the journey, because you're right. You also have this ability to be very self-aware, even though you've kind of taken a coping approach to your trauma, where you kind of separate yourself from the emotion, but you have this great awareness of just like what is going through your head and where you are. And so with that, just the way that you summed it up, I think it's pretty perfect, because it is like this rush of a whole lot of new ideas, like
feelings that I ignored for so long.
And it is gonna be like this. It will be like this rush, and sometimes like a whirlwind of like, what is all of this? But in those moments, you can learn different coping mechanisms to try to help you just calm down and be okay with that moment, because you're right, it is going to pass. It is going to pass. But if you don't work with it and you don't deal with it, it kind of won't. It'll hang out and hover and wait. And as believers, we have to realize that there's more to us than just the here and now. There is the spiritual realm that we also operate in. We have with us at all times the mind, the body, and the spirit. And so whenever I talked about self-care earlier, we need to care for ourselves, for our minds, our bodies, and our spirits. And so when you leave one hanging, guess what? It's going to suffer, and it makes the whole body suffer. There's scriptures, I don't know if you're familiar with, where they talk about, the eye having a specific job, and if it wasn't an eye, what would it do? And if the toe wasn't a toe, what would it do? And would the body not be a body if it didn't have all those things? And so, it kind of really speaks to the body of Christ, which is all the many members. You know, if one member suffers, then the whole body is gonna feel that pain, whether we pay attention to it or not. And so I like to apply that to just our human, our makeup, our biology. You know, if your toe gets stubbed, do you not feel it in every part of your body?
Oh yeah. Yes, and you have choice words for it too.
Oh yeah. And so, in the same, if an eye or nose, if I get a cold, you know, it's gonna affect kind of everything. And so, when we recognize, like, hello, we have these other parts of our being that also need to be nurtured, our spirit and our minds. What do we do to nurture those things? And so, it sounds like to me, you know, for, like you said, for so many years, you just like packed it away.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna think about that. We're gonna move on.
It never happened.
Do something else.
Yeah. Yes.
That, well, sometimes that's not the best. Sometimes that helps you just get through the moment.
Yeah.
But for long term, that's not the most healthy way to process, you know, our mental or spiritual needs, or physical either, not to just ignore it. So what are some things that you think you could implement to kind of like help train your brain or help your brain to be in a more healthy place?
It's so crazy to me how every time I come here, my husband Murphy, like, it's, y'all are always on the same, like, the conversation me and you just, that everything you just told me and him had that conversation last night. And every time, it's like y'all always say the same things. And every time I'm just sitting there, they have to talk. They know each other. Something's going on. Because he's, you know, he keeps saying, just take care of yourself, do something for yourself, figure out what makes you happy, take care of yourself. And the whole time I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I've taken care of my sister growing up, taken care of my mom growing up. I take care of you, I take care of the dogs. Like, I don't know how to take care of myself.
Yeah.
Because I never even thought about it. And yesterday I would say taking care of, I guess it's taking care of myself, but I went to, slow down. When I lived here, before we moved off, when he joined the military, I used to go to Westgate a lot, and I would run that. And yesterday, for the first time in years, because for some reason in my head I stopped going because I psyched myself out that I was going to get kidnapped or something. You know, like it was going to be terrible if I went out there. So I went out there yesterday for the first time and I ran it. And it was amazing because, to be honest, I wanted to drink. You know, I was like, oh, it'll just be casual, just one or two, it'll be fine because I'm better now, I can control it. Yeah. Last time I said that, didn't.
Yeah.
Didn't work. So I went and I ran Westgate, and it was 3 miles, and I don't know how I did it, but I did. But during that time, I felt like myself, and it was good. I really enjoyed it, and when it was over, I was kind of like, all right, now what? You know, I felt good. I was on that runner's high, but then I was like, well, what am I going to do now? Yeah. And I didn't go home until Murphy got home because I was in a weird headspace, and I felt good in that moment, but I didn't know what to do after. Okay. So, I started it, but I don't know what to do after it's over.
Okay. Well, I've heard recently someone said it like this: the next good thing. Do the next good thing. And so I'm so glad that you took that step to, you know, and I mean, that was strategic for you to say, okay, I could just do this.
Think about it.
Yeah, you had to make that choice, and that shows strength right there. Again, that, you know, You could have easily said, I'll just drink a couple, but you made a choice to do something healthier and something different and something that you once found joy and peace in doing, and then you had that awesome feeling, and after it was over, you're like, okay,
way better than drinking too much.
Right.
Way better.
And so sometimes you do the thing that's going to distract you and keep you safe for the moment, but it runs out, and then it's like, what now? And so that's why we have to have more things for you to do, so that you can stay away from the things that harm you. Do you like music?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of music.
Yeah. Okay. So running is one. That's one thing that takes care of you. Where did I start writing that stuff? Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna say what takes care of you. Running. Can you just try to think about whenever you're in that moment while you're running, what usually is going through your head, or is there anything?
I think that's why I like it so much, because there's not really, like, I'm just focused on what I'm doing in that moment. I'm not focused on anything else except me in that moment, and that's how, because growing up, I was active. Like, I was softball player, ROTC, just played sports all the time, and I never thought of it, but that was like my thing that made me happy.
Yeah.
And over the last 4 years, no, not 4 years, 3 years, I haven't done that like I used to, and be as active. And I was thinking about it yesterday. The whole reason I went running is because I was studying, and while I'm studying, I'm usually thinking about 4 other things. Like, I'm doing all these things at once, and I was thinking, I don't move a lot anymore. I sit the majority of the time because of classes and studying and homework, and I'm just not moving. And I notice on the days that I'm not moving around a lot is when I start getting in my own head. So that's yesterday. I was just like, I'm just gonna try and just see if that helps, and it did.
3 miles? That's pretty good after.
I did after, but
really long. You might still be scraping me off of whatever.
It was bad, but I did it, and I think my fear, I don't know why I created that fear in my head of something happening to me, but like the world is getting rougher as each year goes, so I think that's just what. And then when he was in the military, like, you're always just looking around and waiting for the next bad thing to happen, and I think that just carried on with me.
Right.
So.
And you know that actually is a very common thing that happens with people, and it's because of we're exposed to so many different negatives. Like, it's all over the place. So watch the news if you dare.
I usually don't.
It's pretty bad. But we forget to recognize the good that's out there, because it's not plastered all over the place. It's not that interesting. You know, the kid that held the door for the old lady, it's not as interesting, or the ones, or people that rescue people from devastation. Like, you don't hear about that stuff as much. They might have a quick snippet and followed by
all this happens.
However many people that just got shot. You know, it's just that's our news. And so often, if we're not very intentional about filling up on the good, then all the negative is going to come in and can take over. And so I want you to think about just you know, whenever you say you kind of formulated this fear and you don't know where it came from, perhaps from, just hearing about all the bad things that come in the world. I want you to think about, what would my Savior have me to think about? Where can I go in Him to find peace? What does the Word say about fear and joy and hope? Can we have hope?
Yes.
I think we grappled with that one a little bit.
Yes, we